In the new year, hopefully you have set some new goals for yourself. What I want to remind you though is that it's not necessarily about actually achieving it on your artificial timeline. Because for that matter, fuck your timeline. A very interesting thing about goals is that if they're set properly, even if we don't achieve them, we'll end up achieving it shortly after because we will have already created so much momentum in chasing that goal. But what I find is that we typically have a bias around achieving something based on a certain goal that we hit for ourselves. And while that's extremely important to create goals for ourselves so we can set some pressure on us such that we can find ways to be more productive and find ways to create massive amounts of momentum, I think what you need to be chasing more than anything else, in lieu of the goal, is the daily momentum. How are you creating momentum towards your goals, such that if you just wait long enough while implementing your routines and your program, you will get all of what you want. You will acquire all of what you admire. I think a lot of us can forget that eventually it will work out if we are putting in the reps. But we want it now. We want it 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But if you're really patient, you'll for sure get there in 10. If you're dedicating yourself every day and you're finding ways to create results. And that's the difficult part, I think, when it comes to really making a decision around creating a life that you want. It's being able to work towards your goals regardless of your outcome. I've really noticed when you are making a decision in your life for what you want to do, let's say you're in high school considering taking post-secondary education, or you want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to do something on your own, whatever it is. A lot of that decision weighs on your confidence in your ability to make it happen in a timeline. And I think what's happening now, because, we will think, for example, if I just do these 4 years here, then I'll land my perfect job in engineering or whatever. But even then, we are finding that a traditional education is not doing it. Just getting the credentials behind your name, just getting that piece of paper is just step one. And God knows how many years it's going to take to then get in a position where you are working with people you want to actually work around, working on projects and things and whatever that you actually want to be working on. There's an illusion, I realize, in the timeline between creating a life, pursuing your passion and struggling through all that shit, being an entrepreneur and struggling through all those businesses and whatever that don't work. And then struggling towards let's say you want to be a product designer, to find a company that's willing to hire you and to mentor you and to train you and to eventually be working on products that you want to be working on. And to be in the position that you want to be in. I feel like these are equal amount of times for each path, whether you choose a traditional path or a path on your own. But regardless of that, what you must understand is that you just have to be able to love and appreciate the process of struggling with massive amounts of clarity. Massive amounts of confusion, where you need massive amounts of clarity, and you're in these periods where you don't know if it's going to work out. And you're going to have to choose to have this attitude of, even if it doesn't work out, I'm going to continue on with this. Because if you have not, it comes down to this, where have you actually accepted the journey yet? That's a previous episode I talked about, where accepting the journey really is being able to accept all those weird moments of limbo, all those moments where it sucks, all those moments where you don't know what to do next, all those moments where you don't feel sure about it, but you continue to take in that action. When you have a timeline based on whatever goals you have, that is an artificial attempt of creating clarity for yourself. When in reality, some things you cannot just get such instant clarity. You have to earn that clarity by putting yourself through lots of action. And then as you expose yourself to more and more direct experience, have more successes and more failures, then the path will reveal itself. But we say, no, the path is going to take 1 year to get to this goal. When it's like hiking across a mountain range or whatever, and all you see is just a mountain in front of you. You have no idea how many more mountains are behind there, but you're like, nah, it's going to take me, 1 year. It's going to take me a week, a month to get past whatever this mountain range is that I don't even know the breadth and depth of it. With whatever valuable endeavor, you will be massively humbled in just how much work it is to create anything that is extremely valuable in reality. I really notice that anything works. Like, people say drop shipping is dead, Amazon FBA is dead, going to make a YouTube channel is dead, or whatever, or go doing this thing. And yeah, a lot of it's a red ocean. And even if you want to make your own blue ocean, where it's like your own pioneer field, with whatever thing you choose, where you either go into a very highly competitive market, or you create your own category, there's going to be at some point where you're going to have to put a massive amount of effort. You're going to have to sign up for a massive amount of emotionally difficult work, because that is the fundamentals of creating anything valuable. And I think when it comes to a timeline, we massively underestimate how much time it takes to create something valuable, to create value in ourselves. Just think about how slow the personal development journey is. If you've been on this journey for a number of years by now, think about how slow it has been to change yourself in various ways. It's similar the same is true for creating value in yourself. Because when you can create such value in yourself over time, that's a moat. What I realize is that the really valuable things in reality have massive moats around it. Very simply, let's take like a Mr. Beast video. What's his moat? The massive amount of money he has, and also the massive amount of ideas, good ideas that he can pick from. That takes a lot of work to come up with those ideas. And that was the main focus. superior ideas, superior funding, superior execution, right? These are moats for creating a successful YouTube channel. But think about moats for anything in life. To become valuable in any endeavor, to become someone that's better at speaking or whatever, the most common moat around all these endeavors, with whatever you want to do in life, the most common one is how much time you've invested over a long period of time. Anyone can put like a couple hundred hours into something, but are you willing to do it again and again and again without seeing results? Be extending beyond your timeline. Are you going to quit when you're not getting the results according to when you said you should be getting these results? Or are you just committed for the long-term game where it's like, yeah, this is my thing. So if it's not now, it's going to be at some point, because I'm putting in the reps every single day. And I'm finding new ways to get rid of all these old distractions that are taking away from my time. And I'm finding all these new ways to implement things that are going to systematically help me to achieve my goal much faster. So while setting goals are important, I think they are, because then we can really focus ourselves. And so setting a goal is massively important, and reviewing it every single day is massively important. What's more important, I realize, is just leaning into the process of becoming. And to have massive amount of patience around that. And I think too, that's what's going to keep you sane along this journey of creating massive amounts of value. We have all these examples of really valuable people, but we forget, or we don't even allow ourselves to cognize. We don't even allow ourselves to cognize just how much effort was put in to become those kind of people. And so then our expectations aren't set correctly. And so we'll set a timeline for ourselves, which is an expectation. And when we don't hit our timeline, we will become extremely demotivated. And this is where really stapling down what your life purpose is and what your top values are and who you want to be is so important, such that through thick and thin, your trajectory doesn't waver. If your trajectory is wavering at all at any point in your life, then that just is a signal to show that you have not really gotten clarity on what you actually want out of life. I want you to notice that. And it doesn't mean that, if your trajectory is wavering right now, because it's getting confusing, because it's getting difficult, doesn't mean you gotta abandon it. It means you just gotta reassess. Is this something I actually want? And if it is, well then let's create more constructs around making sure that I have more drive behind it. Because really, something I've really realized about myself, and I do believe it is for a lot of people, is that we don't have discipline problems. We don't have focus problems. We have a morale problem. When we set expectations, such as a timeline, we are giving ourselves permission to cop out, to we're giving ourselves permission to have a morale problem. I grew up diagnosed with ADHD, and I've never focused more being off of medication and just taking responsibility over my focus. Medication is not going to do the work for you. And no amount of whatever is going to do the work for you. We look for things to give ourselves permission to change. We need this huge ceremony and whatnot, and that can be a really good help. But a lot of times we're not going to have these amazing, moments where, we find our life purpose and we're in an excited state of consciousness, and then a flock of doves in the shape of a cross flies over our head, confirming it. Instead of looking for a definitive reason, your reasons to stay motivated, to stay committed, is something that is cultivated. That's cultivated by leaning into the journey, regardless of your timeline. Being motivated as if you're hustling like an immigrant. Regardless of where you are. Doesn't matter of how much or how little success you have, you're still going to put in the same reps. That's another thing you got to really think about is when you have the success you want, do you think you're going to be motivated to go as hard, to be that disciplined? And if you're not, then recognize that. Recognize I haven't put my I haven't put my self-esteem, I haven't put my self-image, I haven't grounded myself truly in this moment. When you talk about the really successful people that get a lot more done than everybody else, it's because just for them to feel okay with themselves, they have to put it in today. Whenever they hit their 10,000 month milestone, their $1 million milestone, their 1 million subscriber, 10 million subscriber, whatever milestone it is out there for you, that's the fucking milestone, what are you going to do then? It's all about grounding yourself in the now, in what makes you feel good now, what makes you feel that you are on the path for that momentum, and then stack those wins. Stack those wins such that you build an identity based on direct experiences around that you are one that's disciplined, that one that gets stuff done, one that puts effort in. I remember David Goggins talking about how he's sitting up from his bed and he just stares at his shoes and shorts to go for a run. You're just so blocked to even do any motivation, anything, no motivation to do anything. And so what he's done is he got a journal and he wrote down all the times he ran 8 miles a day, 20 miles a day, whatever. And you need to create that momentum in your mind to keep on going. A timeline is not going to keep you going. Goals can help you focus yourself, but a timeline of expectation of what should happen when, focus more on the trajectory you're on. How you are allocating your time, your focus, your energy today. That's all that matters. The past never happened, and the future doesn't exist. What really exists is now. So with that, I'll see you in the next one.